Today is Laetare Sunday. Its name comes from the entrance antiphon in Latin, which is Laetare Jerusalem, rejoice Jerusalem. We don't hear the word rejoice too often in Lent, so it stands out for us. It's at a marker near the midpoint of our Lenten journey that reminds us of our destination. Each morning, long before the sun breaks over the horizon, the sky begins to lighten. The blackness becomes a hazy violet and then lightens to a dusky rose color, a sure sign that dawn is coming. That's why this is one of the 2 Sundays in our liturgical year that these rose-colored vestments come out and make an appearance. They are to remind us of the coming Easter morning. It is to refresh us on our journey of Lent with a reminder that the sun is rising. At this Mass, we observe the second scrutiny for the elect, so the readings come from Year A. They reflect the theme of darkness and light, the light of Christ illuminating our lives, letting us see things in His light, the light that shines in darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it. St. Paul, in his letter to the Ephesians, extols us to be children of the light, who once lived in darkness, but now in the light of Christ. He tells the Ephesians and us, "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light." Paul reminds those who are new to the way to work towards what is doing pleasing to the Lord and to take no part in the fruitless works of darkness. Paul is addressing an issue that we all contend with. Not just the temptation of sin, but living in a society whose values don't always align with living in the light. As followers of Christ, we have to live in the world, but not be of the world. And sometimes that can be a challenge. The gospel offers us a very practical example of this. Now, there are a lot of twists and turns in this passage, a lot of lessons to be learned, but let's focus for a moment on the man born blind himself. He is surviving in a world that he is accustomed to, relegated to the bottom rung of the social ladder, but he's used to living in darkness, both figuratively and literally. He doesn't even react when the disciples take his condition as evidence of sin. He's probably heard that a lot. And then he encounters Jesus. And suddenly his entire world changes. But only his world changes. The rest of the world does not. And his place in that world hasn't changed. We can relate to the internal struggle of the man, how he must be dealing with this. He's seeing the world for the first time and experiencing it in a whole new perspective. And while he's processing the wonder of his sight, he's confronted with the authorities that see his change as a challenge to the established order. They drag him before the Pharisees, who demand to know how this happened. The man simply tells the truth. A man named Jesus gave me my sight. When challenged about Jesus, he tells them he is a prophet. No doubt the man thought his ordeal was over, but it wasn't. They accuse him of faking blindness all these years, so they call in his parents to verify that he was really born blind. But even that's not enough, and they summon him back. At this point, it would be relatively easy for the man to just agree with the Pharisees and get on with his life. But he chooses not to denounce Jesus. It's worth a pause here to really appreciate what's happening during this very chaotic situation. In this moment, the man born blind has made a conscious decision. He can see now, both literally and figuratively. He can either agree and just walk away, or he can speak the truth. And if he does, it's not going to turn out well for him. He's not going to be climbing the social ladder. He's going to be tossed from it entirely. And yet, he stands his ground, knowing that it will not end well for him, and it doesn't. They do indeed throw him out. This is going to have serious repercussions on his daily life, and this takes courage, a special kind of courage. Our elect here today and those preparing for sacraments stand in the light of Christ, and like the man born blind, they have encountered Jesus. Maybe they didn't recognize him in that moment, but they knew something had changed within them. Like the man born blind, Jesus returns to them to reveal himself to them, and their response has been to follow him. Those joining the faith need that special kind of courage to resist the expectation of others, to resist the darkness of the world. They need our prayers and our support. They know that this change is not an easy one, not just personally, but in their own slice of the world. The light of Christ illuminates every aspect of their environment, calling for adjustments and change, sometimes by letting things go, and sometimes by embracing other things. Both are hard, both take courage, and both take the grace of our Lord to accomplish. But they do not stand alone. Their sponsors stand behind them, ready to help them, and today we as a community stand with them as well. At the end of our Lenten journey, on Saturday before Easter, we will enter the church in darkness, but we will leave the church filled with the grace of the sacraments, for our elect and candidates, their first sacraments. We will all be filled with the light of Christ, ready to take it out into the world. The dawn is coming. Awake, O sleeper, and rise from the dead, and Christ will give you light.